Between Plays. It's the journey and what you do between where you are and where you want to be. Research, prepare, plan, and execute your strategy. Do your DD and stay strong in visualizing and achieving your goals. Our strategy is unique since 2020. An original concept imitated, never duplicated. Real conversations with media influencers, educational and expert speakers, analysts and consultants. Between Plays, bridging the gap between companies and investors.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Between Plays Stock Market Strategies. So today, everyone, I know you've all been waiting for this. We got Christy Hanna on with us. How you doing, Christy?
I'm awesome. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy that you're here at Between Plays. And we've had some time to talk before the show. We've been
Yeah.
connecting on, with the Twitter DM.
Sure.
But I mean, we were supposed to do a show last week and stuff, but you're like living in the future. I'm like living in the past. It's unbelievable. It's daytime over there. It's nighttime for me. So it's been a little bit difficult to make it happen, but we got it done.
We sure did. And you know what? It's a beautiful, 37-degree day here today. It is just beautiful. So lucky. And thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
No problem, no problem. Over here it's cold. We got a lot of snow, but what are you gonna do? I live in Montreal, so we don't.
Yeah.
Let's see what all the cold that it is over here. We don't have like big spiders like you guys and scary snakes and stuff like that. like I've seen some stuff you guys have.
Yeah, like spiders are like size of a plate, you do not want to meet one of those, especially in your car, like what happened to me. Just
I
drops down on you.
Oh, no way! You had a
Uh-huh.
spider drop down. Was it on your car or something?
Yeah, it was on my car, but me and cars don't really gel too much, so.
Yeah, I sort of I believe that you and cars don't really gel. I mean, you sent me that picture of a
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
boat falling on your car. Like, how
Yeah,
does a boat fall on a human being's car?
good question. And you know what? It wasn't just any car, it was a Mercedes, right? So it's like, why did you pick a Mercedes to land on? And you know what? People were asking, how the boat's going. It's like, what about my car? Like, seriously? It wasn't even a good boat that crushed the Mercedes either. Like,
at
seriously.
least at least if it would have been a good boat, right?
Like a yacht or like it was, yeah, anyway, it's a write-off. So good thing is about this bad situation, I'm buying a Tesla. So
Oh, I
I'm going
see.
into the EV.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you picked up the boat and you dropped it on your car.
Well, you can't tell my insurance company that, right?
That's like it's crazy. I mean, like I'm gonna put
I
that
know.
picture up here after you sent me that picture, and I was just going,
hmm
"You made the
hmm
local news."
Yeah, yeah. It kind of went viral, and I'm reading these comments like typical Mercedes driver can't park. I'm like, look, I just want my car back. Anyway, worse things have happened in the world. I'm lucky to be okay, but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, more chance of winning the lotto, right?
Oh no,
Like,
no. Thank God you weren't in the car. Like
yeah,
seriously, that's crazy. That's absolutely
yeah,
nuts. I'm just gonna tell people, you're like your Twitter handle is you're called the Stat Stock Chick, right?
yeah,
That's a pretty
yeah.
cool name, by the way. And
Oh,
it's
thank you.
your handle is at Aussie Stock Chick.
Oz stock chick. Yeah,
Oz Stock Chick. Yeah, that's it. At
yeah,
Oz Stock Chick. That's pretty
yeah.
cool. So for everybody out there, do not hesitate. Go and subscribe. Go and follow that stock chick, Christy Hanna, who's on here with us today. So, Christy, the reason why I had you on here today is because I noticed that you're like really big in lithium,
hmm
and you're talking about lithium, and some of your tweets are they're very intelligently put, and I'm just going, man, I really need to meet this girl because the way you're writing about lithium and stuff like that, it's not like you're looking at it from a perspective of the future. We need this, and I'm just going, okay, let's have a real conversation with her. and explain to me like why lithium and why not something else. Like, and look, I know you're buying a Tesla now, so you know it's
Yeah, yeah,
all
well,
gonna come into
exactly.
play.
Okay, so why lithium? So for me, Australia is the largest producer of lithium. And recently an article came out on ABC News that basically said that we are a giant quarry here in Australia. And it kind of caught my attention, the fact that, this part of Western Australia, it's got so many natural resources, lithium being one of them. And I think I've been following the journey because we seem to have all these resources and just ship them straight out to China, right? And I thought to myself, well, I need to be in this journey. I need to be part of this lithium journey because it's only going to get bigger, right?
Oh yeah.
So basically, my main stocks are in Argentina. But what I really want to hear from you is about Canada, right? Because Canada is running hot at the moment. All my Australian friends are moving money out of Argentina. I'm not doing that, by the way, because I'm heavily invested in Argentina. But they're moving it into hard rock Canadian lithium. And the reason I think that's happening is all to do with the US Inflation Reduction Act. And also Canada, which have actually banned Chinese investment into mines. We would never do that here in Australia. We are so heavily reliant on China, right? So
Yeah.
that is why I think Canada is such a hot spot at the moment. So I've kind of told you in a roundabout way why I got into lithium, and I ended up in talking about like what's happening at the moment. But for me, it's like lithium is a no-brainer in terms of look making money. It's the way of the future.
Oh yeah.
It's as simple as that.
I totally agree with you. And yeah, you're right. I mean, like, well, Canada. I mean, Canada. Yeah, we did sign, agreements with the United States to say, yeah, no more. You guys wanted to play that game in 2020,
Hmm.
by like limiting supplies of stuff and whatever, and that really got the United States and the rest of the world, actually it opened up their eyes to what could really happen. And yeah, Australia is
Yeah,
like, wait, I don't remember the numbers exactly, but I was watching it yesterday. It's like almost like 90%, like most of your lithium goes directly to China. And
exactly, exactly.
it's nuts because even though you guys have when you look at who produces the most lithium in the world, like the country, it's actually
Yeah,
Australia.
yeah,
And
exactly.
then it goes right to China. So it's not like
Yeah.
we can say, oh, okay, Australia, give us your lithium, because it's going over to China. And yeah, I think you guys are in a bad position because, of all the geopolitics, and you're really
Exactly.
close to China. I mean, Canada doesn't have
Hmm.
to have any fear whatsoever because we're we're basically, brothers. We're joined at the hip with the United States, and we have like so many agreements in place that they defend Canada
Hmm.
in time if any kind of war would ever happen. That's why we never really ramped up all of our military and stuff, because we got Big Brother right there, going, don't worry about it, guys, we got you. Yes, we have you too, but you're far, so it's
Hmm.
like, yeah, so your situation sucks a little bit. And I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. It's so tough, so tricky, especially since you we're it's like Australia, Canada, United States, if you go back through time, and most of us all come from England, I mean, like the
Hmm.
backdrop, right? The Commonwealth and stuff like that. So it sucks. It really does suck. You know, and I like the point that you're bringing up about South America,
Yep.
because I was heavily invested in South America. I
Yep.
mean, the salt brines, the stories,
Yep.
about,
Hmm.
just you fly over and it's like just shiny mirror, lithium deposit that you can see even from the ground and stuff like that. And the thing is, though, is that I think that, with all of these things that were signed in place, like even the United States, they called like the War Act for minerals.
Hmm.
There's no way it's leaving. We don't have any on that graph.
Exactly.
Yeah, on that graph, it's Australia, China, Brazil, and then pretty much like no one else really. You might have maybe a European country here, but like it's
Hmm.
such a small fraction. And then you're like going, where is Canada on that graph? Where's United? I don't even see them. They don't even
Hmm.
exist on that graph. So they're in a
Wow.
really serious situation where, yes, if you're signing a war act to have local critical minerals, um,
Mm-hmm.
it's the lithium becomes a huge play. Now, South America, of course, and you're saying this about your Aussie friends, a lot of them that are looking towards Canada, even Canadians are doing that now. The
Yeah.
ones that were heavily invested in the salt brines and stuff like that, they're looking at the pegmatites. Well, first of all, like Australia, and the Aussies know, or you guys know that the pegmatites, the spodumene, right? It
Mm-hmm.
the quantity and the quality is enormous. All right, you
Yeah.
can't mess with that quality, which is why Elon Musk goes and he looks for pegmatites. He really
Mm-hmm.
prefers that, right?
Yeah.
Canada has that story. We have that story. The James Bay is rich of it. Canada's rich of it. So, in some parts, like John Kaiser said, listen, that this James Bay area was probably no good for all other things, but in lithium, it's
Yeah.
there. We got it. It's good for that. Like there's a ton of it. So
Exactly.
that's pretty much it. I mean, we just need to get it out of the ground and then forget about it. I mean, Canada is going to be on. They're going to be producing for naturally Canada, United States. They're going to be producing probably for Europe, and we'll probably end up giving
Mm-hmm.
you guys lithium. Just because you guys are exporting it over to China, and
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's an absolute crazy story.
Yeah, and I think that is why Canada is particularly of interest to investors at the moment, because I see Canada as being involved in the whole EV supply chain, right, from start to finish.
Yeah.
Whereas Australia, we want to take it out the ground and ship it to China, which a company called CXO, so Core Lithium, they just sent their first shipment to China, and they're located in the Northern Territory in Australia, and they've got a really strategic location of their port, which is like the gateway to Asia. So that is how they're kind of marketing themselves. They will ship it out the ground, and then it goes to China. And for me, I'm like, come on, like Australia is a country where we can produce our own EVs if we really wanted to. So
Absolutely.
why are we just exporting it? It seems insane to me.
Yeah, I think it's just about about the. I don't really want to say the threat, like the
Hmm.
because what would happen if you guys stopped? Like what if you guys stopped? You know,
Yeah.
it's such a catch 22. Like the United States can tell Taiwan or you know no more chips, no more this, no more that. Let's do this. Things are so delicate right now that I think that just Australia is in a very touchy situation because you're in that part of the world, and what are you gonna do? We can't
Hmm.
blame anyone. Like it's just it is what it is. But you're right. I think that around the world now they're looking at the James Bay area and Canada to get this. And you're 100% right because GM and all these big companies, Ford and stuff, they're all opening up plants, Nano One Technologies, all these
Yeah.
people, the one pot processes and everything like that. They're all coming here. They're all in Canada. We're getting it out, and it's like this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take it out. We're gonna make sure that it's EV compliant. We're gonna get
Hmm.
it into batteries, and then we're gonna build the cars here too.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Exactly. 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 So that is why I just love the EV movement as well. So I'll tell you this, right? So I think the source was Euronews, and it compared so like a Volkswagen Golf. I don't know if you know that car.
Yes,
And
yes,
then
yes.
their version of the EV is a Volkswagen ID3. And recently they did a comparison of the Golf
Yeah,
versus the EV ID3,
yeah.
and they compared it over a year. So of 18,000 kilometers over a year, that's what the motorist
We're looking
drove.
at. Okay.
Yeah, and it was over twice as expensive to run the Golf, the ice car, the Golf,
Really, the ice
right?
car, yeah, the internal
Yeah.
combustion engines for people out there that have no idea what she's talking about. She's
Yeah.
talking, she's
Yeah.
talking lithium lingo. But yeah,
Lithium
yeah,
lingo, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
it's kind of like the EV movement is not going anywhere. When you look and think to yourself, it's costing so much more to run an ICE car. It makes so much more sense to buy an
And
EV.
I'm sure
And
that car was beautiful.
exactly. They just look, to me, they look a bit like outer space looking. All these
Yeah.
like new EVs, they're very
Yeah.
like techie,
Yeah. They're cool.
cool.
They
They
are
are cool.
cool. They're cool. And you know what? It's the future. It's like your future, my kids' future, right? I mean, what are we gonna do?
Uh-huh.
Burn up the planet continuing with the ICE vehicles? Absolutely ridiculous. You can't do it anymore. It's over. Game
No.
over. It's done. You know, like we're moving on.
Uh-huh.
And you know what? You cannot look, what a lot of people out there don't understand is that with the Internet of Things and all this kind of stuff that they want to come out with, you can't stay with ICE vehicles. It's just not going to
Mm-mm.
happen. And these electric vehicles, they're made for that. They're made for the Internet of Things. They're made for the digitization age. I mean, we've had, like, all the different, the dark ages, and then the copper and this and that. We've
Mm-hmm.
had all in humanity, all these steps. We're going to get out of this one now. We're going to the digitization age, and that's where we are. And that, I'm sure, that car that you're talking about, I didn't see it, but I'm sure it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it is amazing. But for me, obviously, Tesla Y model, just simply because, you know what? I was really anti-Tesla. Just because being a Mercedes driver, I like the luxury of the dash inside, the experience of driving a Mercedes. You just I feel good every time I get into a Mercedes, right?
Yeah.
So I actually went into test drive a Tesla Y model with not much, I don't know, hope that I was going to really, really enjoy it. And I was blown away because it's so like minimalist inside, and it's just this screen, right?
Yeah.
And
That's true. It's
it's
just a screen.
just, oh,
It's crazy.
but the tech is just crazy, right? I'm driving down the road in it, and it's picking up bins on the side of the road. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that is crazy.
what?
It's so true. Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I honestly, it's true that Elon Musk, hats off him for like putting in his own money when the company was going bankrupt,
Hmm.
and it's funny how he was talking about when I saw him in an interview where he was saying things like, he had to make a decision between SpaceX and Tesla, and he
Hmm.
was saying it was like his children, and you could see the emotion when he talks about it, like he didn't want to, just fund one and let the other die. He's like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go for both, and because they're the future, and
Hmm.
if I don't, I'm going down with the ship type of mentality, and look at what he's done. It's just
Yeah.
incredible.
It is. It's amazing. It's amazing. But the other thing I was going to talk to you about as well is just to say that I do still think, from my perspective, Argentina, for example, because I am quite heavily invested in a couple of companies
What
in
are they? Just out of curiosity.
Lake Resources,
Yes, I know them.
LKE, they're on the ASX, and
Yep.
Galan, GLN.
Yes, I
And
know.
I'll just tell you a quick bit about, like, for me, why, because I like to diversify in terms of, I do have Canadian lithium stocks, but also with Galan, for example, it's high grade lithium in Argentina, and it's a monster resource. Whereas Lake Resources, for example, I'm an investor in that just through the technology, because it's through the direct lithium extraction. So they market themselves as sustainable lithium, because I think one of the things that I keep hearing on Twitter is, oh, we've got all these massive lithium mines. How are they sustainable? We're still ruining the planet. So I think certain producers are looking at ways to kind of mitigate the risk of coming across as like a traditional miner, and we're ruining the planet. They want to look at ways to make it more green, and I think that's why Lake has kind of that niche with the technology. But I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
with
for sure.
Patriot PMT,
Oh yeah.
um, I'm really interested to hear like what you think about it, because
Well,
it looks an awesome stock.
well, so naturally, I really wanted to get into lake resources a long time ago. So yeah, that's
Hmm.
definitely a company that I was looking at Lake Resources like a year ago, if not even longer, and I just knew, that was one of the big companies to get into, and they were on the Australian exchange, and my broker, like, it didn't work out, so I was like, oh, God. But that's one of the big ones. Now the PMET is, I mean, that's a giant, and it gets back down to the whole, salt brine versus the pegmatites, and I
Exactly.
was completely anti pegmatites a year ago. Okay, if the viewers out there want to go check out the John Kaiser video, I'll put it at the end over here. There's 2 John Kaiser videos. Now it's important. I think everybody should go watch. He's a professional analyst, been doing a long time. He gets, he speaks at the PDAC, so the Prospector Development Association of Canada, for mining. He speaks at mining forums, all kinds of places, for everybody that doesn't know him out there. I'll put it at the end. 2 videos we made, and the first one that I made with him last year, I say to him, and this was the question: why would we want to put our money into pegmatites in Canada when the big stories like Nemaska went bankrupt? Because in 2019, lithium, it was the price of lithium had dropped so drastically that the margins were just not there, and then the companies go bankrupt. So I was completely anti pegmatite because of that kind of story. Because I'm going, if lithium drops, forget about it. All these Canadian companies would be gone. And then he's like, Albert, that's not going to happen, and I'll tell you why. And that's in the video, and it's because of the fact we're at the no return. There's no return, and we need it. So the thing is that it's like supply and demand, right? The oversupply in 2019 was there. Now we have, look, you cannot get an electric vehicle. You can't get it because it's like a year, 2 years wait, 6-month wait, depending on who you're going to.
Exactly.
No one wants ICE vehicles anymore.
No.
I went to go buy a FEV, okay? So, the hybrids.
Yeah.
And we waited a year, and now we're waiting another 4 months because of a complication that happened at that place. So we just were like, forget about that complication. We'll just wait, and another 4 months we'll get it at this other place. That's all. It's all good. So what ends up happening is that wherever we went to the Ford dealerships and everything, like, they're like, look, if you need a car now, our lot is full of cars. It's packed full of ICE vehicles. No one wants them. Eventually, they're going to have to start giving them away because no one wants them. No one's buying them. They're like, we have a list of 500 people. We have a list of 2,000 people. We have a list of whatever amount of people. Everybody's waiting for their electric vehicle. And the lot is packed full of ICE vehicles. No one wants them.
Yeah.
So
you'd be crazy to buy a nice car now, right?
I agree.
Crazy, in my opinion.
Me too.
Anyway.
It's over. It's done. Move on to the electric vehicles. First of all, you're helping the children of the world. You're helping the whole situation. Let's move on.
Yep.
Let's go over there. So the thing is that what John Kaiser's explained, to come back to your points about PMET and, why am I looking at certain things? The pegmatite situation, that the price is not going to go down. Albemarle just said that it's going to go 40% up more than the highest price of lithium last year. It's going to increase by 40% more. So already there, the margins for the pegmatite story is ridiculous. Okay, it's huge. So there's no worry. So the thing is that I missed the PMET story. I knew about it at 34 cents, but I was like going, I'm not getting into this, the whole margin thing, and then John spoke to me, Mr. Kaiser, and I was going, look, I'm still not convinced. I'm in South, America. That's where I'm going. I'm going to salt brines. I don't care. That's where I'm happening. That's where it's going. All right. And then I saw PMET explode, and I went, "Are you kidding me? I had all this cash. I didn't put in $1. I didn't listen to Mr. Kaiser. I didn't put in $1, and then I saw it go up to $16. I saw that stock at 30 cents. I could have easily thrown in $30,000. I'd have like $1,600,000 right now. It's insane. I just go, oh
yeah.
I'm not gonna miss.
I'm so good at doing that. Same with Winsome Resources as well. That's just skyrocketed, like another Canadian lithium stock. They just seem to be at the moment just going nuts.
But we're lucky though. We're lucky though, because to the viewers out there, we are in the beginning of this story, the very
Yeah.
beginning. We
Mhm.
need 600% more lithium now. It's insane. So the thing is that you look at the Brunswick out there, all right? And I wrote an article where like I'm all in, like it's an all in stock for me. So if anybody's
Yeah.
been following me since 2020, they know that I was in this company called Lithium, South America. And it was a big, big story. I was in it at 30 cents, wrote it to $7, where they basically sold it. Like I'm rounding off the numbers. I don't remember the exact sale price, but it was like either 670 or 760. So I'll just say $7 as an average. But who cares at that point? I made a killing. I made a killing, and everybody that was following me made a killing. And I've been looking for that next Lithium story, which should have been PMET, but
Mhm.
the PMET story just makes the Brunswick story all that better. Brunswick
Yeah.
has like claims pretty much in the Atlantic region of Canada, central Canada, like Saskatchewan and stuff like that. They got the whole Quebec story that's going on over here, and then you have that what you were mentioning before, Christy, about the fact that um, you're going to be taking the lithium out of the ground, and you're going to go and actually put it into the vehicle to drive away, like the full production process. So Canada we're at the beginning of something massive. So yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
I think that for me, Brunswick is the story that because they're advancing. If you look at what they're doing,
Mhm.
they are going to get the samples out of the ground now everywhere. They are aggressive. PMET's aggressive, 100%. Brunswick is aggressive. Yeah, I don't. Let's just leave it at that. Like they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. In the last Kaiser video, it's like John was saying. Look, the '90s diamond rush. They were looking for diamonds. That's all they cared about. So what did they do? Well, Canada says if you're going to go and check for diamonds or whatever you're checking for, when you're drilling, you got to label everything. So
Mhm.
what happened? Well, they labeled all the lithium that they found in the areas, and then they just took the paper, went, because lithium was like worthless. They were looking for diamonds in the nice. They didn't care about lithium, but all the papers there. So all these guys are going back and saying, oh, well, look at this. Lithium probably right there. Lithium over there, maybe. They're going through all these papers. And then all they have to do is they just got to go and drill. And then that's it. It's done.
This is insane. I feel like this is going to be one of those videos that we look back on in a few years, and we look at Brunswick and the stock price in a few years, and we go, "Wow, it's insane." I
And
honestly think like,
yeah,
yeah.
and there's more. There's more to come. So you know what, Christy? I don't know if you have any last thoughts or any last things you want to mention.
Just that the EV movement is like pretty much what you said. It's only just beginning, and I think investors really need to realize that, if you're investing in lithium, you are investing in part of the EV, what I call the EV revolution, and it is a way of the future. It's going to make the world a greener and a better place. And yeah, just keep investing, hey?
Oh yeah, exactly. Like what John Kaiser says. You know what? Buy now, don't look back. You know what, Christy? I really enjoyed our conversation today. So to everybody out there, you know what? This is Christy Hanna, that stock chick on Twitter, and her Twitter handle is at Oz Stock Chick. So go over there, follow her, please. Um, let's make this go viral. Let's make her go viral. So to everybody out there, always remember, research, prepare, plan, execute, and stay strong. Thank you, Christy. On to our
Thank
next show.
you.
Bye.
Between plays, it's the journey and what you do between where you are and where you want to be. Research, prepare, plan, and execute your strategy. Do your DD and stay strong in visualizing and achieving your goals. Our strategy is unique since 2020. An original concept imitated, never duplicated. Real conversations with media influencers, educational and expert speakers, analysts and consultants. Between plays, bridging the gap between companies and investors.